Hi, it's Anne. Thanks for stopping by. Well, look what we're going to be using today. We're going to be using some packing tape, just the ordinary stuff like you use on your boxes and your envelopes before you mail things. And we're going to be making, I hope you can see the text that is on this packing tape. It's very, very easy to transfer. We're going to transfer off of all different kinds of printed paper. And then we're going to play a little bit with how we can use these. It's going to get a little bit messy with some water, but well, it's going to get a little splashy. We'll try not to make it too messy. I've been playing around with this kind of tape for quite a while, and I thought it might be fun to show you. I don't know that we'll get that many really finished products done, but we're going to look at how we can apply it. So the first thing we're going to do is to get out our packing tape and some scissors. And I've got a bunch of different kinds of paper here that I'm going to experiment. My playing with this has been mostly book page. But I have a couple of magazine pages out, different kinds of book page. I've got some music and some wrapping paper here. So let's just kind of see how this goes. I have found in my experimenting that the transfer of the text of the ink onto the sticky surface of the packing tape, that transfer tends to go better if it's not a slick page, a coated page. You can get some transfer with a coated page, you know, like you'd have in a really shiny magazine, or, you know, maybe like a coffee table book or something like that. But to begin, I would tend to go with some sort of a printed page that doesn't have a glossy surface. And I'm not making really long. There's going to be a lot of tape sounds in this one. So if you're sensitive to such things, I just want you to be aware of that. Do you know what? Let's just go to the regular book page. I'll go with what I know best here. And I'm going to try to get over it a little bit because I do like to make certain that the edge of my tape is even as much as possible with the edge of the text block. Just makes it a little bit tidier when you're in the final application. And I'm just going to rub this down with this little scraping tool. You could use your card, your hotel key, anything like that. I just happened to run across this in my craft room drawer and realized I hadn't used that in a while, and then I'm just pulling it off. You know, and you can use it just like this. I mean, it looks perfectly. Let me put it behind this coffee stained paper. It looks perfectly nice like this. But if we want it to have a little bit less of that paper clinging to it, we can soak it in some water. But let's do a few more before I begin soaking. This is on a different kind of, this is a magazine page. And I'm thinking that this might pull up more of the paper with it. Sorry, all the fans going in the background. We've got a lot of fans and the air conditioning going today. I'm working in the basement, so long sleeves work because it's a little on the chilly side here, but 3-story house, we're trying to keep the nice air circulating. The nice air, the cooler air. It's not terribly, terribly hot. It's not like poor folks in the Midwest have been dealing with recently. All right. Let's see. Now, I'm thinking this isn't going, well, okay. You never know until you just pull it off. So it transferred the paper and the ink. This is going to be interesting when we soak it. Let's do a couple more and then we will begin the soaking. I'm curious, I've never done music page before with this process, so we'll do this and then maybe we'll do this wrapping paper and maybe this sewing book as well. I tend to have big ideas when I'm doing my planning, and then I don't get to everything I'd like to, but Isn't that just the way? It's good to dream big, I think. All right. Getting it adhering to its surface as well as we can. And then we just pull it off. I picked up quite a bit of ink there. Oops, yeah, this is the right way. All right, so we've got 3, and let's do the wrapping paper. Again, have never tried that kind of transfer. I've used this technique a lot. You've seen me use it many, many times with Scotch, just like cellophane, you know, tape, this, the narrow, the office kind of tape. I've done that many times. But it's kind of nice to have something a little bit wider, and the soaking gives you a different result than just applying it right away. So anyway, we're playing today. It's summertime. We can have a little play. This famous wrapping paper. This is my family jokes that we have literally a lifetime supply of this bird wrapping paper. It will be left behind as part of the Kenlin legacy to the one daughter. So she's an only child. I kid her that she will have access to all of the great riches here, including the wrapping paper that we have a huge, huge roll of. Kind of like this graphic from this old Vogue sewing book. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna have a little bit of transfer there. All right, now aside with the paper, and I'm gonna bring in the towel. How am I gonna get this oriented so you can see it all? I'm gonna put the towel down first. And I have a little casserole dish here with a little bit of water in it. Hope this doesn't shine too obnoxiously. And I've put a couple of pieces in there. It's been soaking about maybe 5-10 minutes. And I'm going to, oh, here's my scraper. I'm gonna pull these out. You know, it's just plain water. I did make it warm water, although I used it yesterday and let the water go stone cold. So it does not have to be warm. And then I'm just going to put these others in here to soak while I'm doing the scraping. We're soaking and then scraping. This is one that pulled hardly any paper off with it. Did I have? I think that's all I had. These are some that I did earlier over here. Right, what did I do with my, the one from the sewing book? I just did that. How could I have lost it already? Well, you're gonna get the idea. I'm sure I'll run across it. Is it under there? No. Oh, well. Now I'm just gonna scrape. This is this came out of a Daphne's Diary magazine, and I liked the text page because it had an interesting kind of font. And I'm just gonna scrape this a little bit. Oh, this is gonna come off nicely. There we go. Look at all of that coming off. I'm gonna have just the text and no paper. I also, I think I've had exactly 2 copies of Daphne's Diary in my life. It's an extremely expensive magazine in the US anyway. And I get it occasionally. I will see it at the thrift store, and I snap it up like it's gold or Edith Holden or something like that. And whoever the columnist is that writes, I don't know if the Daphne from Daphne's Diary is a real person or not, but there's somebody who plays that part in the editorial process. And she has two children named Anne with an E and Barney. And so, of course, I love Anne and Barney together because it's, you know, like me and my grandson. So I always get a kick out of that. But look how nicely this tape came out. It looks gorgeous. It looks just gorgeous. I can hardly wait to use it in something. Now, this is one. This was from a Real Simple magazine, I think. And it was just sort of an interesting look at, you can see what it is. It's a yoga mat, and it's an article about how you can wash your yoga mat in the bathtub. So, heaven's sakes, we should do that, right? And I'm hoping I can get the paper off and just get that ink. Ah, I'm having some good luck with this as well. This is, I'm delighted by this. When you scrape both ways, and you're going to get a little bit of ink on here, so, you know, don't use your best towels. There we go. Well, that turned out pretty nice too. How is that going to look on? That could be a nice decorative piece. I like the text the best, but if we were using, decorating it on a surface that had a bunch of text, we might want just that graphic element instead of the text. So we'll set that aside. It's nice to have several of these in the stash. Now, here's our wrapping paper. Oh, there's two stuck together. All right, maybe that's why I got mixed up here. I still can't find my, oh, here. Put this in here. Here's that sewing book piece I misplaced. It's all here in real time. This is the one from the novel that did not bring a whole lot of paper off with it, so I might not get that much more. But boy, that ink stays on there pretty good. Yeah, this is going to be pretty much as it came off the page, I think. So not a, you know, yeah, you get some text there. I'm sorry, I'm not checking every time to make certain I'm not blinding you with glare here. So sorry if that's making you want to put on your sunglasses. Let's try the wrapping paper. I'm getting some of that paper off, and the ink looks like it did transfer. Try scraping it the other way. Just because of the position of the paper fibers, it can scrape differently with that resistance coming from different directions. I think I'm sorry that I haven't tried this before. That's kind of nice on a, just from a scrap of wrapping paper, isn't it? And, you know, yeah, I could just have taken the wrapping paper if I was going to use this as an embellishment on a paper and glued that directly on. The downside in some ways is that it's going to have that shiny tape surface. But if that doesn't bother you, I think this is, the upside is that it sort of contains the images, you know, to this one place. It gives them just a little bit of an elevation, I think. Let me grab a piece of text here somewhere. You can see how that would look. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, we're definitely going to do something with that. Okay, so there's our birds. I might scrape that just a little bit more. And as you can see, I didn't let these soak long. Let's do the music. Oh, that's going to be nice. All kinds of interesting noises going on in today's video, aren't there? There's my fans and AC in the background. There's a scrapity scraping. There we go. Now that looks just really, really nice. I think you can see all of that. Fun, 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 fun. Let's do one more out of our little Pyrex dish. It's this pattern piece out of Vogue Sewing. Did you ever have Vogue patterns? I'm sure they still make Vogue patterns, but when I was learning to sew as a 4-H kid, thank you, several folks have mentioned 4-H in recent comments. But when I was learning to sew as a 4-H kid in the summertime in the 60s, Vogue patterns, oh, those were, you know, if you were a junior high or high school girl sewing, you did not get Vogue patterns. They were far too sophisticated for the likes of us. We were Simplicity and McCall's brand gals, and they had Vogue patterns in the stores, but that was where, you know, the posh ladies would get their patterns from Vogue. And I think my sister Marge, if she's watching, she can let us know if she ever used Vogue patterns. She was very sophisticated, and she probably used Vogue patterns. Isn't that nice to have? I'm going to be making a sewing journal, and I'm definitely going to use this. All right, let me kind of clean up here for a second, and we'll come back and see how we can use some of these. Okay, I think we're ready to start using some of these. I have a couple of just tag bases here. They're not even backed. It's just a paper on file folder. But I thought let's just get, let's use 2 bases that are text-based and 2 that are, you know, more graphic pattern based, but largely with solid colors. One with a little bit of variance and one with just stripes of solid colors. The main reason being I want to experiment with different kinds of visual motifs on different kinds of backgrounds. So let's just get to it. I'm pretty sure that glue stick will work well on this. The soaking and the scraping have removed most of the stickiness here on the back of the packing tape, but we'll just see how it works. Man, I am eager to use, well, I say it got most of the stickiness off, but there's some top and bottom that is still sticky. And did this pick up something else? It did. Now I'm going to have to scrape it again. This little sheet. Okay, this is going to have to soak a little bit longer. Putting it back in my water, because I let it sit here on this page, this magazine I'm going to use as a glue page, and that didn't work very well. All right, let's use this Daphne's Diary here. I think that'll be nice. Let's see how the glue stick works. I like it on this background that has mostly solid colors. I think this was from a Real Simple magazine. I like when I find Real Simple in the thrift stores, I like to pick it up because its pages are nice and thin, so they're not bulky. The graphics are beautiful, and the pages aren't glossy. All right, let's see how this glue stick works. Our new friend, Doris, coming into our lives. There we go. I think that's going to work. Usually something that's highly plasticized, I have to use Fabrifix on, or 3-in-1, but I somehow had a feeling just feeling that. I think that looks nice, don't you? And it is shiny, you know, so, you know, you've got a little bit of that glare, but it's not obnoxious. It's not obnoxious at all. What else would be good to put on here? Obviously it needs something. I could put something right along the seam, but I could just put like maybe one little, oh, I kind of like that, don't you? Yeah, it's sort of a combination of the contemporary look and the vintage look. But I think I'm going to go with this. This is a set of these little, absolutely adorable little bird cards that apparently were circulated as a promotion by Arm & Hammer baking soda back in the day. My friend Laurel gave these to me. Thank you, Laurel, along with several other wonderful little crafty goodies. I believe she said she got them at an estate sale. And what a treat that was. I'm going to ink the edges. I think I like this little quail. They're not thick and bulky. And I think I like that just like that. Do I need any stamping up here? I might just let it be nice and quiet. Sometimes we need a little quietude, don't we? Let me make this into a tag shape. I can't find my little store card that I use as a template, so I just cut a little piece of file folder to be my template for today. I've been working pretty hard at cleaning my craft room though. So there's that. Do I want to ground this in anything? What if I use like a little piece of doily or something like that? Oh no, I keep saying I want to keep it simple. I do want to keep it simple, but I still feel like it needs just a little bit of grounding. How about pull this out just to sort of be on this lower corner. Yeah, that will be okay. I'm trying not to overdo, but you know, the heart wants what it wants, right? This piece of brittle book, I tore it even as I was inking it, so I'm just going to try to put it through as little additional stress as possible. Yeah, I just think that packing tape image transfer gives such an interesting look. Just such an interesting look to, because it looks like it's printed right on there, yet, you know, there's a different texture, and I'm throwing things every which way. How this somewhat sticky tape is sticking to what I have. There. Oh, it's just a little bit crooked, isn't it? There we go. A little bit better. I might go back in and put some more things up here, but for right now, I think I'm just going to absolutely love this little packing tape and this lovely little quail from Laurel. Let's do another, shall we? Now we did the text-based packing tape here, so why don't we switch to a text-based tag base and put one of our more graphic pieces down. And then I want to make certain I do the music one as well. Maybe right down the middle. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go right down the middle there. And again with the glue stick. This is one I think that's going to be fine on its own. I might put some sort of a word or something there later, but for now, I'm going to call this one Mostly Decorated. But let's turn it into a tag shape at least. I do think the store cards work better as this sort of template. This file folder is a little on the flimsy side, but it's better than nothing. And let's ink this while we're here. I feel like this needs something else, but it might be something that I'll come back and add to later. I think that's a fine tag, and I would be proud to use this. Now I'm going to come back after I've re-soaked my little music tape and see if I can remove that paper that I accidentally glued onto it. And that's scraped off just fine. So I'll be careful where I set this now in case there is a little bit of that stickiness left. While we're talking about the stickiness that's left, let me show you a little trick. You might find yourself in a position where you want to use some of this packing tape and have the back part exposed, have this kind of part coming through a window. And for example, I have one around here. Here's a junk mail envelope that didn't have that acetate window there. What if I wanted, let me pull something else out here. What if I wanted to put something like this in the window, and I could tape it down to the inside here, but this part, what if this part was exposed and the tacky part was threatening to catch on other things? Let's see, it might show a little bit better with this. I have all these pieces of packing tape over to the side. Here's another piece that's text-based. Let's just go ahead and do this. There we go. And I'm just going to use the regular Scotch tape now to affix this, and I'll decorate the front later. You can see there's still a little bit of stickiness left there. That wouldn't matter if we were, in fact, it would be helpful if we were putting it down with the sticky side down. But in this case, the sticky side is exposed. If you're taping down, be sure and get all the edges. we'll go back in and play with that beautiful little piece of music tape. There we go. Let's see, that makes a lovely little window here. But I want to be careful that, see, like even right here, it's sticky enough that it's catching there. So what you can do is you can take a little bit of baby powder. I keep this always in my craft room. It's just a little fabric, a couple of fabric squares that I stitch together and put, you know, just maybe a tablespoon of baby powder in the middle. And I use this if I'm going to be heat embossing something, and I don't want that embossing powder to stick through static cling to parts of my paper that I don't want embossed. That's a whole nother process. But this thing comes in really handy to take the sticky off of things. Sometimes if you have a piece of washi tape that you don't want, you want decorative, but it's, you know, you don't want the edges sticking or something. This is perfectly smooth now. So don't put too much on, because, you know, you don't want to be breathing that stuff. But this is something I'll finish later, but I wanted to show you how you can treat that residual stickiness on the back of the packing tape. Okay, back to our little music packing tape. And because this is text-based, or is sort of in the same family as a text visual, you know, I don't want to put it on a text background. I want to put it on, you know, more color and there we go. Oh, isn't that going to look nice with all of this swirliness there? And see that mistake? You can see that there's a little bit of ink on there from when I placed it down on that glue page, but I'm just going to leave it there. It's kind of amazing how glue stick does seem to work pretty well in this. On this soaked and scraped packing tape. There we go. Oh, how pretty that looks. I think that's just a great base. Let's go ahead and see if we can decorate up the rest of it. Shall we do that? Let's make it into, and this is from a college magazine, and there's a professor down there. I hate to be just ignoring her presence here, but I really kind of wanted this image because of the colorful glass sculptures that were hanging around her. I mean no disrespect. I truly don't. There we go. There we go. Now I could go back to one of the lovely birds that Laurel gave me so generously. Did I put the right one? I miscalculated. I used the wrong angle when I flipped over to the other side. There we go. Your eyes will, trust your eyes. If it looks off, it probably is. What shall we put down here, friends? I have a few floral images. I want something that just looks kind of pretty. Something like that might be kind of nice. Oh, sorry, Professor. I kind of like that with the music. These are just sort of random flowers that are in my little floral envelope. Maybe a circle or two. That's not right. That's not right. I kind of like think I'm kind of liking this. And I might want to put a little bit of book page up there. It's almost hard for me to make anything without book page on it. What about... it's just a little random piece. And I'm just going to put that up in the corner, and I'll recut that edge. Just kind of bring that down to the side. And ink it, of course, because that's what we do. Oh, what a mess I'm making today. I say today like today's any different from any other day. I make a mess every day. Trying to get a little bit better about cleaning up after each project, however. Not always successful. My reach always exceeds my grasp. There we go. And what was this from? Obviously a magazine. This might have been from that same Daphne's Diary from the thrift store. I harvested that thing within an inch of its life, I'll tell you that. I love that with that music just showing so beautifully, or, you know, with the background just showing so beautifully through that music. Isn't that nice? It's just a fun, easy way to pick up ordinary images and ordinary motifs from the printed page and bring them to your junk journal ephemera in such a different way. Does it feel like it needs something there? I think I'm going to have to think on that one. That color doesn't seem right to me. Yeah, I feel like it might need something else, and I don't know what that thing is right now. But the thing is, we don't always have to know, do we? We can go back and finish things later. The main thing I wanted to bring you to you today was this whole concept of using packing paper and transferring images onto it and using those in our junk journal ephemera. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you pull out a roll of packing tape, and enjoy using that in some sort of special way in your junk journal ephemera. We'll see you soon, guys. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.